Chef Cell was recorded on a cell phone in front of a fake audience.
Hey guys, Chef Cell right here. Hello fake audience, hello real audience, hello YouTube, hello Facebook. Chef Cell's crazy cooking show now has control of your computer. Now, we're doing our 50 most Googled recipes by state, and I'm in the M's now. You guys better catch up because it's really cool stuff. Go to my playlist on YouTube. I started all the way at the A's. What was it, Alabama or Arkansas, whatever it was. Go watch them, or watch this one and then go back. But we're doing every single state, and we're about halfway through now. This week, Missouri is going to tell us about their wants. W-O-N-T-S. Yeah, word I made up. What they wanted was Kansas City style ribs. This is a rough one. There's a lot of variations of ribs, types of ribs: rub, wet, dry, marinated, schmarinated. I'm gonna call these Kansas City style ribs because I looked it up and this is pretty much one of the most famous ones or the most popular ones. It's a rub, okay? We're gonna rub these ribs. And they say, what kind of ribs? There's a few types, all right? We're going with St. Louis pork ribs. It's a big slab. Here, look at it. Huge slab, all right? Any supermarket, meat department these days has it. If not, go to your butcher. St. Louis ribs, Kansas City style dry rub. It's just a rub that if you look up Kansas City, you see a lot of these ingredients, but you've used them before, you've seen them before. You could mix and match, pull stuff out that you don't want, throw stuff in that you did. As long as it's powder and it's rubbable. You know what I mean. Oven at 300. If you're using a grill, you can go like maybe 225. And I don't know about the grill stuff, even though I am the grill, whatever I am there, expert. I'm going in the oven. I got to tell you, I'm going in the oven. 300 degrees. It's going to probably be in there. I want you to start checking it after an hour and a half. And just poke a fork in there, right? After an hour and a half. If it's, still kind of stuck to the bone and a little hard or whatever, just leave it in there another half hour. It's okay. They say, well, it has to be falling off the bone. Did you have some milk? Yeah. It's falling off the bone. Stop. Falling off the bone is good. Or not, as long as it's chewable and nice and easy to eat, okay? Enough of this. It's tomfoolery. I have a foil wrapped, rimmed cookie sheet. See? I stuck my ribs on there. You can cut this in half. I was going to, but I think I can fit it. And take this dry rub. I got a tablespoon of chili, third of a cup of dark brown sugar, right? And then I have make it 3 tablespoons of white sugar. Give me a nice tablespoon of celery salt, and give me 3 tablespoons of paprika. Kosher salt, give me 2 tablespoons, and granulated onion, 1 tablespoon. Doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. You can mix and match, like I said. This usually gives you the nice balance of sweet and I call it rough, rough with all these salts and the peppers and the chili powder. And that's it. And paprika gives you the smoke. If you have liquid smoke, I ran out. Put a little bit on after you rub it on, or rub that in with your hands and then go like that. Ew. You know what I mean? So you don't need any tools really, except your digits. And you can make this a thick coating, a non-thick coating. I don't care. It's up to you. Don't rub it in like you're trying to rub somebody out. Just make sure you hit every corner that you can. And I'll show you the other side. I trimmed a little of the fat off of there. And there's that skin that they have on the back. I took some of that off also. But the butcher in my store does a good job, so you don't need to. And like I said, I didn't take a lot of the fat off because guess what gives you the flavor in this one? 3 seconds. Exactly, the celery salt. The fat. You know, it's the fat, man. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna 300 these things. Like I said, hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours. Just keep checking it. We're gonna wrap it in foil. I have another piece of foil here. And then we're gonna make this barbecue sauce. Again, it's a St. Louis style barbecue sauce. Here's the bottom. There was a lot of fat on this part, see? It was way too much fat. You know what I mean? It was like gross fat. But this is cool fat. This is taste, guys. And I think we took a lot of this backing off here. I didn't get all of it, but you know what? I've eaten them with the stuff on there. You live. Now, there's a lot of guys, especially out here in South Carolina, they're looking in the window right now. See? You know, the big guys, the biker guys with the long white beards. I mean, they could sneeze and do a better job than me on this. But you're just like me. You're a person at home. You know, you might be an ex-chef or a current chef. And you just want some ribs, you know? You don't want to get a tent and go in a parking lot of Costco and you know, go in one of these contests and you bring the whole family. That sounds like a lot of fun, believe it or not, but I don't want to do it. I want to stay in my house. I want to put on my stories. You know what I mean. So I'm talking as I'm doing this. I'm sure that's thrilling you to no end. And I tasted this rub before. I mean, I got to tell you, it's kind of a good thing to do before you even put it on this thing, because if it tastes pretty good, it's gonna, I call it render down, because what happens is with the slow and low, the sinews of the meat, the connective tissue kind of break away. I know, that sounded very scientific, but it does. And you're left with a lot of the taste that's in this rub. So get it in there. That's okay. Make sure it's like a coating, you know, like a little coating. That's all. All right, push it in. Get it inside the meat. I'm going to clean up. I'm going to show you how to wrap it. And you make a little reservoir for the juice, and we'll put it in there. Okay. I'll be right back. All right. Now just make sure you measure it against the piece of meat. This foil here, I did a pretty good job of it, you know, because I have like, you know, an IQ over 60. And I had this sitting out now for about a half hour. You can do that. You don't have to do that. I mean, it's going to be sitting in the freaking oven for 2 hours. First thing we're going to do, coming from the sides, and make sure you have enough foil on the long side to be able to fold it over like so. And I'm leaving a little bit of air in here. And, you know, a little bit of room for the juice. I'm making a little reservoir here toward the end, because the juice wants to go somewhere. So I'm going to kind of close that up. And you want to make it as airtight as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. And this side we can kind of just fold it in and bring that down. And that's pretty much it. So I'm also going to tilt it. That's why I want a rimmed cookie sheet. And that's pretty much it. So let's get this in the oven. I have the rack pretty much in the middle of the oven. Get it in there, and let's go. I'm gonna go 2 hours to start, and then take a look at it at 300 degrees. And in the meantime, we'll put together this pretty easy barbecue sauce. You know, it's just time, heat, and some really good ingredients. I'll show you. Alrighty. While the baby is in there getting warm, I have a medium saucepan, 2 to 3 tablespoons unsalted butter, and I just chopped up about 1/3 of a very large white onion, or you can use a whole small onion. So let's mix this around. And what do these onions need? Flavor. Even though there's a lot of salt in a lot of these things, especially the ketchup that we're going to start moving into this soon. All right. So once these are softened, it's going to be about 5 minutes in this butter. We're going to start adding these ingredients. We have 1/3 of a cup of like a clear or a very light vinegar. It's fine. You can use apple cider vinegar. We have molasses, and we have dark brown sugar once again. Cayenne pepper, chili powder, mustard powder, black pepper, and you want to go 1.5 cups of any kind of ketchup that you have. If you don't have ketchup because you forgot to get it, you could try a little tomato puree, but nothing in that, just pureed tomato, that's it, because you want it thick, right? Like the ketchup, yeah. Maybe add a little extra salt, because that's what ketchup has. Trust me. I had that salt in there, I'm adding some of this pepper. A couple of turns is fine. There's a lot of pepper in this thing, right? We have it on the ribs, we have it in the sauce. The St. Louis style barbecue sauce. The onions are soft. They're starting to get a little light brown. Like that, see? No big deal. You're with me, right? No problema. Let's get the ketchup in here. Now, as I said, I wanted 1.5 cups. I'm probably going to have a little less than that. Let's see what happens. It's about 1.5 cups of that ketchup. You'll be okay. And when this is all put together in here, you're going to mix it around for a couple of minutes. Then let it simmer for about a half hour. Cool it down. And then stick it in the blender. Right? Boom, you got barbecue sauce. So let's get that mixed around. And now I'm going to go around the horn. I'm going to pan my little 1/3 cup. Because we got some sticky stuff going on like molasses. Let me put this here. Very slow. Slow to the party. 1/3 cup in. It comes jumping out of that cup measurement, by the way. It comes jumping out. All right, we got that. 1/3 cup. White or light vinegar. Or apple cider. If you want to go crazy, you can even try the balsamic. It's got some good taste in there. But we'll go this way. We're okay. And I'm going to eyeball about 1/3 cup of, again, our friend dark brown sugar from earlier. Get that in there. It's about right. And give it another mix. Mix each level as you go. And might as well get the pepper in there. You want a little heat, because we got pepper and then we have this cayenne pepper. Woo! 1/2 teaspoon only on that cayenne. Here's the chili, though. Here, smell that. It's not oh. You know what I mean? It's not hot. It just has a taste of ground up chilies, because that's what it is. I got a nice tablespoon. Nice heaping tablespoon in there. See? You ever wonder what was in barbecue sauce? This is the stuff. That's all it is. All right, let's move on to the cayenne pepper. 1/2 teaspoon, please. Don't kill yourself with this stuff. Give it another stir. Move it down a bit. You want a nice simmer. And you want to simmer it. You can put a top on so it doesn't kind of splatter, because it's kind of splattery stuff and, you know, red ketchup and dark molasses. You know, it's going to make a mess of your kitchen. You don't want that, right? So you can put a top on it and just kind of crack it a little bit and let some of this moisture out, because you want it to be thick. You want it to come down really thick. And we have some of this ground mustard. I gave it a taste and it's really good. It tastes like hot barbecue sauce. I don't mean hot spicy. I just mean it's hot because it's on a flame, right? All right, so I'm gonna let that go a half hour. If it starts to bubble, I'll put a top on it and just kind of crack it. Let some of that steam get out of there. And these got another 1.5 hours or something. So this is gonna be done early. Turn it off and then heat it up. And we're gonna brush it onto the ribs and then broil them right under the broiler. Not all the way up. One rung down. One rung down. Yeah. And I don't know, keep your eye on it when it gets nice and dark. Some people like the burnt look. I just do the top. I don't flip it and do the bones on the, you can do it on the other side, but that's the way I do it. Okay, I'm gonna clean up. I'm gonna let this go. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put it on the back burner. And let's let that go at pretty low. We just wanna light bubbles around the edges. I mean, it looks beautiful. It's hot as hell and my hand's burning off, but that's what I do for you, see? And that's the story. So let's come back when this is done, then we'll put it in the blender. Okay, it's been about, let me see, 2.5 hours, maybe close to 2 hours and 45 minutes. I checked it a couple of times. I put a fork in to the meat. I mean, I don't check the doneness of the bone. Do you? Right between the bone. Give it a little twist. If it kind of, you know, you'll know when a rib is done. It kind of just comes off on the fork and breaks away from the bone. I don't like to really overcook it too much. Oh gosh. Oh man. Oh. All right, look. I just stuck it in and twisted at the end. This has no barbecue sauce on it yet, but just look how it came out. See how it came off? When I must. It's my job. Oh. So I got this whole rack here staring me in the face. I let it cool. After I took it out, I let it cool for about 5 minutes, just so everything kind of just says, okay, let me just drink this in. I'm done, and I'm edible. And, you just gotta talk with your ribs a little bit, okay? If you're not gonna eat the whole thing, you can do one of two things. You could slather everything on, all the barbecue sauce, slather it on the whole thing, and then chop it up. Broil it, and then chop it up and eat it. Or if you know you're not gonna eat the whole thing, I'm gonna cut this actually in half. You can cut it in half too. And I like the fact that the meat is above the bones. If it's not too hot to handle. You can see that juice underneath, which is incredible too. If you could see in there, see how the meat is above the bone. So I'm gonna lay this out on a cutting board carefully. It's still a little hot, so I don't want you to hurt yourself. And we're gonna cut it in half, slather on the stuff. I'm gonna turn off my oven from the bake of 300, which is a really good temperature if you wanna go 2 hours, maybe more. It depends on what you want. Some people like it a little more chewy. Like the ones you find in the Chinese restaurants, they're not falling off the bone. You gotta go hang, hung, hung, hung. Yeah, that's basically a word. Hung, hung, hung. You know what I mean? So these are a little bit different. So they melt in your mouth, deal with it. Okay, so let me bring this over, see if this is too hot. No, it's fine. Okay, perfect. Oh, here's another piece. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. Should I just throw it? Oh. You're gonna love this recipe. You're gonna love it. Get a sharp knife, really, really sharp, because you want to cut through. It's not too bad a skin, but sometimes you get a skin on the top, and it's a little bit hard to get through. And then when you cut it, the knife, if it's not sharp, kind of just moves everything back and forth, and you get mush. We don't want that. If this serrated knife doesn't work, I'm going to move to a regular chef's knife. Actually, it worked great. It worked great. Okay. I'm going to put my broiler on. I have my shelf not on the top rung. I don't mind it taking a little bit more time because I'll get more surface area coverage, you know what I mean? But I am going to slather this stuff on, this barbecue sauce. And I have good news. Good news. I said you have to use a blender, which can get messy and whatever it is. I don't think you have to. Yeah, because these onions is the only reason why I wanted you to do that. They kind of, they disintegrated a little bit, and I got to tell you that they don't look too bad in there. It looks kind of cool, Looks kind of cool. Very dark. It's a really dark barbecue sauce, which is great in its own right. So I'm going to slather, I'm going to slather. And for the other half, I'm going to leave that alone. I can refrigerate it. You can just bring it to room temperature tomorrow. And when it comes down in temperature, slather this stuff on. You want this down to room temperature too. And just do what I'm doing here, the same thing. So it'll be like you're making them from scratch again, instead of just reheating them, Yeah, I'll put a little juice in there. Nobody's gonna get hurt. Now this sugar that I have in here, all kinds of sugar, right? We have white sugar, brown sugar, sugar, whatever. That's going to add to the caramelization, so you're going to get that good barbecue almost burn on the top, and that's where you get what they call the bark. Pretty cool stuff. If you want to just eat it like this, you can, but don't you want to get that crispy top? See? Not bad. So we're on the broiler. I want to go in this way, so I get that element there right over the center. Second level down, as I said. Give it about 1 or 2 minutes. Take a look at it. When it looks like you want to eat it, then we'll take it out, slice it up, and I'll show you. That's half a rack. Can you see it? Can you see it? Look at the glisten. Yeah. Look at the bark on there. So I'm going to cut these up, and you can hang. This will take 2 seconds. And I'll show you what they taste like. I'll show you what they taste like. Thank you, Missouri. Kansas City ribs with a Kansas City rub and a Kansas City barbecue sauce. Now I have to take a Kansas City taste. But how about a Kansas City shout out? Missouri, actually. And a Kansas City Instagram.
God give you the great strength and courage to continue your great work.
It was bound to happen. And of all people. Okay, anyway, let's get this thing going here. I like the ones on the end because they're all like crazy. They're like crazy cousins. So let me just get in. You know, pretend you're at a backyard thing and don't worry about your fingers. That might be one of the best ribs I ever had. And I've had a ton of them. Maybe I will set up a tent in Costco parking lot. Anyway, Missouri, thank you. Everybody, if you want more of this stuff, we're just in the M's. We're doing the whole United States of America, the 50 most Googled recipes by state. I mean, man, look at this one. And do me a favor, everybody. If you haven't subscribed, if you're new here, you're missing out. Boom. Hit subscribe, hit the bell. New one next week. We're staying in the M's, I think. It might be, I don't even know. I'm not going to mention it. I don't know. I'm not good at the alphabet. And I am Chef Sal's Crazy Cooking Show. Come on over to Facebook and say, hey, hi, and tell me in the comments, any questions? What you would use as a rub, what you would use for your barbecue sauce, let me know. I'm telling you, whew, I will see you next time.